Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Rupi. I hope that you do choose to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're a new subscriber, thank you so much and welcome. We love all things shadow, we love all things glowy, dewy, just all of the things. Thinking about it, I should probably put some lip gloss on, but I'll do that in just a sec. Let me tell you what we're doing first. Today I am going to be talking about spring palettes. What are my favorite spring palettes? Now, I am just going to give a disclaimer. I haven't used all of these palettes, but I've used most of them, or I've used their formula, like the brand's formula, and that's how I feel that I've picked these. Because a lot of the time I feel like I gravitate and use my single shadows, or I'm using my Blend Bunny palette with single shimmers. So it was really hard for me to kind of narrow down to see. Plus, I have a lot of palettes, but I don't have like a lot of palettes like other people. So I don't know. It was kind of a hard one to do, but this kind of was triggered by, one, all of my friends are doing these types of videos. Two, because there is a palette that I recently used that really had me like, oh my God, this is so spring, because it's the type of makeup that I used to do in spring and summer years and years ago, around the time I met my husband, which was about eight and a half years ago or whatever. Yeah, I absolutely loved how it turned out. But back then I would only do it with like one eyeshadow and a blush. So now I have eyeshadow palettes. So let's just get into it. If you're interested in knowing what palettes I have, then stay tuned. So first, let's talk about, do we want to talk what's on my eyes? No, we'll do that one after, because that is one of the palettes that are in my top 5 spring palettes. But let's talk about the one that kind of triggered this video, you know, just by looking through my collection and using something that was spring. Now, this one is by Visiart. It is their Aperol Spritz Edit, and it comes in this cute little one. I will put the pricing and everything here because I don't have time to just like look it up on my phone and tell you right now. So everything will be named out here for you below. So these palettes open up like this with the little tab, and then downwards like this. Sorry to glare at you guys, but there it is. It's a tiny little cute palette. Look, like next to my finger, those are such tiny little shadows. Let me show you a close-up of this color story. Look at those. Those shimmers are beautiful. I'm gonna swatch a couple of the ones that I liked out of this palette for you guys. And I think I really just want to show you guys the shimmers because the shimmers are beautiful. So there they are on my finger. Let me just do swatches on the back of my hand. Look at those. I mean, they're nothing, I guess, like extraordinary, but they're so pretty, and on the eyes, they just look super wet. And I don't know, I love like a good wet glossy look during the spring, as if you couldn't tell already. I mean, I don't think my eyes are so glossy, obviously, because I have like just minimal shimmer on there, but the cheeks, the dew, there's like literally no powder on my face today. Is there? Nope, I didn't use any powder. So this definitely, I think, is a cute little addition. It is a little bit heftier on the price, you know, range, but for the size. But just thinking about, you know, average daily consumers nowadays, like you're never realistically going to use all of this up if you have a ton of eyeshadow palettes. And if you don't have a ton of eyeshadow palettes and you do use this up, you're gonna get your money's worth. So either way, I think that the Visiart formula is beautiful. That's the first time I've tried it. It's the only Visiart eyeshadow that I have. But now I'm really intrigued to try more. Don't get me wrong, they're nothing like my indie brands, but I do love it for sure. The next one is a palette that I haven't used, but I've used the formula from this brand, and it is a heavy palette, but you guys all know it's the Tiny Marvels from Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson. I do think this recently restocked, and I can't remember if it's still in stock. I will leave it in here, but I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, because if you're watching this video like next year, then you're not gonna, you know, be able to know if that's true to time. But the color story in here is really pretty. It's probably going to come up a little bit softer on camera, at least on my viewfinder. You do get this beautiful shifty shade. I will swatch a couple of these for you guys, even though I haven't even touched this one yet. Let's do maybe 2 mattes and 2 shimmers. We'll do Fire Butts because I know everyone's always, you know, all over that shade, and we'll do Meadowhawk. I do love the color story. I think it's absolutely stunning. Look at those. Look at that Fire Butts shade. Look at that one. Anyways, the Sydney Grace formula, no joke, is beautiful. You know, but there's nothing like, I feel like there's nothing, you know, rocket science about it. It's just your basic eyeshadows. Super easy to use. Super pretty palette. It is a little bit more on the pricey side, but the shadow sizes are huge. Like, let me show you this next to my visiart, okay? Let's look at it. Do you see? Do you see? This is like 4 of these eyeshadows would be one of the Sydney Grace. It's quite the difference. That's hollow. But I think that this is a really beautiful palette. I think it's super easy to use. It's an easy formula to work with. Same with the visiart. I mean, obviously, I think the visiart is probably a little bit cheaper than this, but then looking at the size difference, you really got to figure out what your money's worth is. I will say to Canada, these are super expensive in shipping, whereas a visiart you can buy right off of Sephora. But if you're in the US, I think their shipping is a little bit cheaper. I will say, the shipping, the reason it's so expensive is because the back of this is all magnetized. It's super sturdy, super heavy. It's a very weighted palette. So, I mean, if you're in Canada, I think it's $16 for shipping, but it's totally worth it. I have a couple of their other palettes and I've tried the formula and I do love it. So, that is why I decided to keep it in here, because I have tried the formula and I know not much is going to be different from this palette to, say, the Enchanted Love. Is that what it's called? I always forget the name of it. And I also have Chase Your Dreams, which I love as well. Next, staying with the whole indie brand situation, I think you can still buy this. This is the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place. Now, I will say this is not my favorite formula anymore. I used to love this formula. It's super, super colorful. I just thought it would be a fun palette for the summertime. The only reason I don't love the Juvia's formula as much anymore is I feel like I've had so much more exposure to other indie formulas. So there's a couple of the shades swatched out for you. I will say the metallics are really pretty, but again, nothing crazy special. I don't even remember if I showed you a close-up, but if I didn't, here it is. There's some really pretty shades in here. I do still pick this up and use it from time to time, but there's just so many other indie brands out there now, and I think I opt for single shadows more. The Juvia's Place formula is a little bit on the drier side from what I'm used to now that I've tried other formulas, and I think that's just why I don't gravitate towards it, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's super pretty. It's one of the first indie brands that I tried, and I do have a bunch of their products and I do still love them, which is why I haven't decluttered them from my collection. Okay, moving on to another indie brand, Kaleidos. You guys know Kaleidos is coming out with a new spring palette. I'll show you a picture up here. We did talk about it in Magpies earlier today. I did just finish with the Magpies and I thought I would go ahead and film since I was wearing some spring makeup. So that was our theme for today's Magpie, or well, you'll be seeing this yesterday's Magpie episode. So here is the Escape Pod palette. I picked this one because it has a bunch of colorful shades, so that's what it looks like. But the shimmers in here are so beautiful. And I feel like they're really, really pretty for spring. So I know mine looks unused, but I promise I have used it. It just, the way when you dip into these shadows, they don't always, I'm just gonna do mostly shimmers. Like their shimmers are just something else. Oh, they're so pretty. I don't even know if my hand is focusing. I know it's probably trying to focus on my face, so. Do you see those? So pretty. I love the Kaleidos formula. The only shades, well, there's only one really in here. This blue one is kind of tricky to work with. That one is called Exoplanet, but everything else is super beautiful. I just want to swatch this darker purple for you guys as well. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? There's just something about their shimmer shadows. They're so pretty. I also do have the Club Nebula, which I haven't played with yet, but I think you could get some cute spring looks out of that one too. I just thought this one, it has enough neutral, it has enough color, it has enough brights. This would be great, I think, for a spring palette. And look at this packaging. It's so pretty, and it doesn't squeak as much anymore as when I first got it. And also, this was the big major issue I had with it, was that it wasn't laying flat, but I have figured out a way you can pull it all the way back without snapping the middle. So I love this one. And last but not least, the 5th palette. Also, I don't know if I said at the beginning of this video, you guys, but these are in no order. There's no like top 5 where I'm ranking them. It's just these are the top 5 that I would pick. Last but not least is the one that's on my eyes, and it's none other than a Natasha Denona. Oh, we are using this beauty, the Sunrise palette. And here is what the inside looks like. I'm gonna hold it upside down just so I don't glare so much at you guys. Oh my God, my lighting is just going to, there you go. That's probably the best I can do, but it's super pretty. I will, what about, let's see, I'll swatch out the shades that I'm wearing on my eyes because I'm wearing 4. Oh no, wait, I'm wearing 5 shades. Okay, well, we'll try and swatch them all then. I really love her matte formula a lot. The shimmers are nothing to write home about, but they do look really pretty. I think compared to Natasha's shimmers, I prefer Visiart, but just for the shimmers. But Visiart has beautiful mattes and shimmers. So that's what those ones look like. They're super pretty. This shade's really pretty. It is a duochrome from like a purple to blue, but then again, I have so many of those purple to blue shades in my indie palettes. This one is probably the more expensive of, you know, the ones that I showed you guys. But I mean, this is $65 US, and Mel Thompson's I think is 52. So you really got to think about what kind of formula you're into if you want to support an indie brand versus, I mean, Natasha Denona is technically, I think, an indie brand. I don't believe she's owned by anybody else, but you're also paying for the name tag as well, right? So that's something to think about. Basically for me, like anything that's super colorful, but not like bright punchy colors, like I would have just included my rainbow palette from Blend Bunny, the Blends palette, but I also feel like at the same time for spring I want something a little bit lighter and more kind of airy, but you can also get depth from so many of these palettes. Like, you know, this one's got like a few of the deeper shades, but they're not super deep to the point where they're grungy. Although I'll say, like, I love a good grungy look, so I will pick a grungy look over a fresh look any days. But you can see, like, I've used that kind of berry tone in the outer, you know, V area. But, like, I don't know, it's just something about this. Also, I just want to point out, because I'm wearing it on my cheeks, this stuff. If you haven't tried this stuff, go try it. It's the Janessa myrick's Dew Wet Balm. And I got it in the shade, Morning Dew, which is just gonna look, I think, white to you guys. I showed you in my recent Sephora haul, but it's on my cheeks and it does kind of dry. Well, here's the thing. So it's not completely dry. There's a little bit of tack when you touch it, but it's not sticky to the point where you feel like hair is gonna stick in it, you know? Like, it's not sticky like your lip gloss. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, it's a beautiful product. I really love it. I love a good fresh look. But let me know in the comments down below, what are your guys' favorite spring palettes, or what's your top spring palette, or what's one that you're eyeing? I want to know all the deets. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button down below and hit subscribe on your way out. Also, don't forget to hit that little notification bell next to it so that you never miss a video that I post. That's it for this one, you guys. I hope that you're all doing well. Please stay safe, be kind, and be healthy. Bye.